Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. The glasses are on, the laptop's here. You know we are going over the part 3 of the Surfcasters Challenge. We're here at the winner's circle highlighting your catches on your favorite lures. First off, I just want to say thank you everyone who participated. I had a great time reading your emails, seeing your pictures, and just talking to you through emails, just going through everything. Hearing your fishing stories are always great. And if you didn't make the cut for this specific Surfcasters Challenge, don't worry, because I like the interaction so much and the participation from you subscribers. We're gonna do more in the future. We're probably gonna do one for the spring run, and I'm thinking about even doing one for like fluke season out front. If you go fluking, like your favorite bucktail or your favorite bait of choice or your favorite rig, I just wanna see more of like what you guys are fishing to compare it to what I fish for when I go fluking. So, and if you go to my seminars, you can learn about what I'm fluking, but more of that to come at the end of this episode. So let's get right into it, starting off with David and Paul. This entry was sent in from David, and he said that my buddy Paul was out with me for his first time ever striper fishing. Welcome to the club, Paul. You're gonna be addicted for life. And he said he hooked up with a 30-inch striper on a bone Super Strike heavy needle. And Dave says that he was lucky enough to hook up too, so the both of those guys were doubled up fighting these fish. And in the picture below here, you have a guy walking the beach who took their picture, so that was very lucky of them to not be on an empty beach and you were able to capture the moment. So Dave is on the right. He says that his fish was about 36 inches, but he knew it was over slot, so they quickly took the picture and released it. So shout out to both David and Paul for one, Paul getting on his first ever striper, and two, having a good buddy like David that's willing to take you out fishing and teach you. That's always a really good friendship to have, and now you have a fishing buddy to go striper fishing with, and you're gonna both be addicted to fall run blitzes and late nights walking the beach catching fish in the dark. So next up we have Jim Payton, and he first off thanks me for the open boat education. I don't wear these glasses just to look smart. I got the brains up here, so I'm glad I'm teaching you guys some funny fishing stuff, so you're welcome. And he said that he was fishing all morning before sunrise to about 10 a.m. and threw every single plug that he had in his bag. And he said that the same deal, people around him weren't getting any fish. There was a ton of bait in front of him, which is very similar to how my fall run season went. It was like purgatory for a lot of guys where you had bait in front of you and you saw the fish feeding, but they didn't want anything to do with you. So he decided last resort to make a legal snag rig. I saw a lot of these getting used this fall run season, and big shout out for using the legal snag rig, especially when those peanut bunker were around, because they worked really well. So he used the legal snag rig and caught this 40-inch plus striper. Said it was very robust and had a great fight. And it had a ton of energy, and when he released it, it was safely back in the water, ready to fight again, or just fill up on more peanut bunker, because that's what they love to do. Thank you, Jim. Next up, we have David Ross from New Jersey, and his fish was caught on his favorite lure, which is the Caveman slope-headed metal lip swimmer. So that's a really nice picture on a nice metal lip swimmer. You can't beat a metal lip bite. Keeping it in New Jersey, we got Wallace Smith, who challenged me. He said, I definitely do not have this lure in my bag. It is a one-off homemade Hopkins and chartreuse, and I definitely do appreciate homemade lures. So you keep on throwing that, Wallace. Next up, we're in Long Island with Paul Reed. He has a fish on a diamond jig. Bringing it back to New Jersey, we got Scott Soletto with his fish on a bucktail. And then we have George Gaskin here with his fish on a pencil popper. Keeping it in New Jersey, we have Timothy Vess with his fish on a diamond jig. We got James Bier, and he says that while he was in Ship Bottom, all alone on the beach with my custom 8-foot rod, a VR50, 20-pound braid, 25 fluorocarbon leader attached via an FG knot, he landed and safely released this fish using his favorite SP minnow with inline hooks. Very nice there, James. Now we got another James who was back on the list, the second submission, James Payton. And he says that the first lure has a story. As you know, if you fish the beach enough days, you will find a lost lure washed up on the beach amongst the trash. And that's why he says he always has a cleanup bucket in the truck. And that's awesome because if you clean the beaches while you fish, you'll make it a better place for not just you, but the fish and all the wildlife around you. And you could find some cool plugs. That's a good idea for another future open boat. If we do another beach sweep idea, and then we see how many cool plugs you find on the beach and send in your submissions. So keep an eye on that in the future too. But he says that he found a cool plug, and here's the picture of it. And he discovered after doing some research that it was a discontinued lure by Sabile, the stick shad, the 6-incher, 3.5 ounces. So then he went home, put some split rings and hooks on it, and went to Island Beach State Park. And he said there was bait as far as the eye could see, but up close there were peanuts in the wash. And then the bait out far was adult bunker. And he said that all the folks around him were having trouble getting a hookup. So after exhausting all of the lures, he decided to throw that stick shad. And he said that this was the best day of 2024. He lost count after 25. And this picture that he sent in was one of the 40-inch fish. He said that most of the fish were over slot. And he says to this day, he's still smiling. Absolutely love to hear it. Thank you so much, James, for sharing, and heads up to anyone else out there. If you do find a lure on the beach and it might look a little beat up, like, I mean, you see in this picture, this one doesn't have paint on it. It's got battle scars. So what? As long as it still swims properly, swap out those split rings, put fresh hooks on it, and fish it. That's, you get a free plug right there, you know. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Unintentional trash, because you didn't mean to purposely lose a plug, but you know the expression. So you got a freebie right there, and you're getting, like James lives by example. He crushed fish on a lure that he found. So always keep your eyes out when you're on the beach, and pick up that garbage too. Switching from the beach to the boat, we're on board the Muscles Magoo out of Sandy Hook, New Jersey. And first up, we have the first mate, Joe Aris, with 2 fish entries right here. And then following him, of course, we have the captain himself, Captain Harry Brown, with an additional 2 fish entries from this fall run season. And last but not least, we have David Bambala from Connecticut. And he says he watched the video fishing forecasts with Dave Anderson and My Open Boats every single week. So thank you for being a supportive watcher. And he said that he is including this image from the fall run here in Connecticut on a local beach in Milford on the Long Island Sound. He said he decided to take a long walk on the beach on October 12th in the early morning hours when a short blitz happened right where I was standing. It was like a godsend. I was in the right place at the right time, and it was gone in the blink of an eye. There was nothing but small bait in the area, so I decided I would start with a 4-inch cotton cordell pencil popper. And he says that, of course, he changed out the split rings and the hooks to be better suited for saltwater. So when I saw the bass blowing up on the surface, I quickly made a cast right in the money and started to retrieve, and boom, I was tight. I knew I had a good fish and prayed the small hooks would stay pinned, and they did. I did not get a measurement, but I was guessing it was around 38 to 40 inches of a class fish, and I just wanted to take a quick photo and get it back in the water. Can't tell you how blessed and lucky I was feeling that day. You can't catch them from the couch. Amen to that, David. You can't catch them from the couch. Although I am sitting on a couch right now, that is the story. Anytime you go fishing or you want to go fishing, don't let that, lazy bones temptation get the best of you, because you could miss the best fishing day of your life. So that was all the submissions for part 3 of the Winner's Circle. Thank you everyone so much for participating. I know I had a great time covering it and reading your emails, looking at your pictures, and reaching back out to you via email. So we're definitely going to do more of this in the future. I love the interactions, and maybe with the winter season coming up, talk to me at the shows. We can do more of this at the shows, because I'm going to have my camera, especially at some of the bigger shows coming up this winter season. And also with the shows, I have seminars. So those seminars, if you can't make it, if you're not local or you're just busy, ice fishing or, fishing, it's fine. I'll be at the shows instead of fishing. But my seminars are going to be recorded. So following this episode of Open Boat, we're going to have a couple of weeks in between where my seminars are going to be live. So if you miss out on one of my seminars, don't worry, they're going to be on YouTube. And the best thing about a seminar on YouTube is you can pause it, take some notes, and then continue. So you can go back to it and reference anything that I'm talking about if you can't come to the shows themselves to see me in person. But definitely, if you can make it to a show, come out, because at the Fisherman Magazine booth, we have our subscriber special. So if you have to renew your subscription to the magazine, or you're watching us on YouTube and you're enjoying the content, come to the shows, be a new subscriber, meet your team that is putting you guys on fish and giving you updates with rules and regulations, everything. Subscribe to the Fisherman Magazine at the shows, because you get a show special, a pair of Danko pliers, and those are great. So definitely come see us. Check the schedule for the show season. Next week, we're going to be highlighting my first seminar of the 2025 season, where I'm talking about fluke at the Wildwood Fishing and Boating Expo. So that's going to be live on YouTube next week to get you guys ready for warmer weather and doormat fluke. So I'll catch you guys on next week's Open Boat.